So Giannis is potentially asking to be traded from Milwaukee right now. Now, obviously, these are just rumors. We don't really know the facts, but there's a lot of talk that Giannis might be on his way out of Milwaukee. Have we heard this before? Yes. Of course we have. But right now, the rumors have a little more spice to them because the Bucks are 1-4 right now. And we kind of know that the Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo combo, it's not really working out as well as Milwaukee may have hoped. How did we get here? Well, first of all, the Bucks traded Drew Holiday, who is a massive piece to them winning the championship a couple years ago. And they also fired Mike Budenholzer. And I know that there was people were maybe a little unhappy with Bud, but he led them to a championship. I remember that I could not believe when they actually fired him. And worse, the replacement is Doc Rivers, a guy that has a mediocre history. He won one title back in 2008 or whatever it was. And he had the absolute most dominant team in the league at the time. And now he's just been coasting on that. One of the worst playoff records, one of the biggest choke artists as a coach in maybe NBA history, probably the most overrated coach of all time, but also maybe not really overrated because most people realize that. And before we continue, I just want to apologize for this giant bright spot over here. That's called the sun. I'm not really a huge fan of the sun, as you can tell. You know how to. Is there any credence? Is there any truth to the Giannis trade rumors? I have no idea, but I still think that this is going to be probably the biggest story in the NBA this week. We just got done with the World Series. I'm still very salty about the Yankees' loss and Aaron Boone's managing. So I decided to move on to bigger and better things. And first of all, I want to say that I'm a Knicks fan. I don't know if you could tell. I don't know if there's any way for you to realize or recognize that I am a Knicks fan. That is where I come from first. From the perspective of a Knicks fan, I'm a little upset that they went and got Cat. And then Giannis might be available a couple weeks later. I'm not upset about the Cat trade. I'm glad we have Cat. He just put up 44, and that's incredible. But I am always going to be sad because now there's no real way that we can get Giannis. And Giannis is, of course, probably like a top 30 player in the history of the NBA or whatever. I don't know. I haven't sat down to think about the rankings of NBA history in a while, so he's obviously a top tier player. Cat has a lot of talent, has a chance to be something. I don't know if he really has a chance to be in MVP and anything like that, like Giannis, but obviously Cat is incredibly talented, one of the most talented players in the league. So I'm not upset. I'm loving what Cat is bringing to the Knicks right now. But I'm still just, it's one of those things where, bro, like, there was a chance they could have had Giannis. Now, Cat is a better fit. He helps spread the floor more. I don't even see where Giannis fits on the Knicks. Like, I mean, he does and he doesn't. He fits anywhere, I guess. It's still just one of those things that kind of tears me up a little bit. But not really, because we love Cat, blah, 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 whatever. But let's talk about where Giannis supposedly wants to go. There's rumors that he wants to go to New York. Unfortunately, it is not the good team in New York. You know what I'm saying? He wants to go to the Nets. Now, Giannis going to the Nets seems like kind of a little bit of an odd thing. Like, what is he really going to do? The Nets don't really have many pieces in place. They certainly, I would imagine that a guy like Giannis, who's one of the hardest workers in the league and obviously a former champion, is not going to want to play with Ben Simmons. But, who really knows? I don't. They have a couple of interesting pieces. They have a lot of picks, which is great for their future. But does Giannis really want to wait for the Nets to kind of come together and what their future is going to be? I would imagine no. I'd imagine a guy like Giannis wants to compete right away. So it is kind of awkward, in my opinion, that the rumor is that he wants to go to the Nets. I just don't really see the fit. I just honestly don't. I don't think the Nets are really close to competing, especially after trading away Bridges. And more importantly, if the Bucks are going to trade Giannis, I am also imagining that they're going to be trading him for a bunch of picks. They're probably not looking to get players, because if you're trading Giannis, you're just going in for the real overhaul, the real rebuild. So that kind of puts the Nets in a really weird place because they don't have those picks to kind of draft the future of their team. And then they're also going to have Giannis and presumably Ben Simmons. I don't know. Ben Simmons might have to be involved in the trade, whatever. But why would the Bucks want to take on Ben Simmons in his contract? So I don't know where that rumor came from, and I don't really see it happening. The other team that Giannis apparently wants to go to is the Heat. Now, the Heat I can see happening, and I don't like that. As a Knicks fan, I'm not really a huge fan of Giannis going to the Heat. Obviously that's going to make them a lot better. It's going to make them very strong. I don't know what kind of pieces they would have to trade in order to match Giannis's salary. That might be a little difficult. I think people are thinking like Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Giannis, which is obviously three really great players. You don't have a lot of three-point shooting in those players, but you are, I guess, going to have other players on the team that they're going to be making their shots, I suppose. I'm assuming that Duncan Robinson his contract would have to be involved in that trade for Giannis, and Tyler Hero would definitely have to be a piece. I can't imagine that they wouldn't be those two, and that takes away a lot of shooting from the Heat, but all in all, obviously, if you're the Heat and you can go get yourself Giannis, you do it. You just do it. You're trying to compete. Jimmy Butler's window for contention has to be closing soon. Like, his career is winding down. You know, he's a little bit older. He's been out a lot in the past couple seasons. He didn't even play in the playoffs last year. Their window of contention is closing pretty quickly. And I'm not really sure that Giannis super contributes to that, but at the same time, it is Giannis. You know, why wouldn't you want that if you were the Heat, if you could kind of pull it off and keep your core together? So that would be interesting. I've also heard the Rockets being thrown in there. Now, the Rockets are a really cool thought for Giannis to go to. They have a lot of young players with a solid amount of potential. You are going to be trading mostly picks, so you kind of won't be breaking up that young core. I've heard Sanguine. I never remember how to pronounce this dude's name. I've heard that, like, you know, they would throw him in along with some picks. I think that's completely fine for the Rockets. I think that he's obviously a pretty solid player with a lot of potential, but you're getting Giannis. That's your replacement for him. I think that makes the Rockets contenders right away. They have a nice little core of like young guys. I don't think it makes them obviously championship contenders right out the gate, but it gives them another year to develop. It gives them a year with Giannis to kind of improve the team, and then maybe they can make some moves to kind of better fit a roster around Giannis while hopefully keeping that young core. They could be competitors. They could be contenders for quite a few years with the Rockets. But let me tell you, man, the team that I immediately thought of that Giannis would go to is potentially OKC. As a basketball fan, that would be insane. Like, that team would be so dominant. That team would be so great. That would be amazing. as a Knicks fan, as a fan of not the Thunder, fuck that. That would be the absolute worst thing to happen, because the Thunder are all these young guys with tremendous potential. Can you imagine Shea playing alongside Giannis? Just that combo alone is insane. Plus Chet, plus whatever other pieces they've got alongside them. And they have a bunch of draft picks that they can pull that deal off without even really hurting their future prospects and draft picks. Like, how many picks do the Thunder have? I think it's approximately 478 first round picks. They could trade half of them, get Giannis and just be chilling, and still have a ton of picks getting ready to find the next Shea or the next Chet Holmgren. It's absolutely insane what the Thunder can do right now. And I think Giannis would be an absolutely incredible fit alongside these young guys, alongside this incredible talent. These guys went into the playoffs last year as the number 1 seed. They got some experience that they otherwise wouldn't have gotten. They're now maybe a little more prepared for the playoffs. They're still young. They're still kids, I guess. Like, they're not quite veterans necessarily, most of them. Man, you put a leader, a guy like Giannis who's been there, has a ring, you put him alongside them, that's going to be a dominant force for many, many years. So that really scares me. From a basketball history standpoint, wow, that's really cool. Like, the Thunder, I mean, who knows? Do the Thunder end up as the new Warriors? I don't know. But also from like just a born hater and a not OKC fan, like, I hate it. I hate it. Like, that's a really scary, dominant team that could emerge from these trade rumors. Now, of course, might a trade never happen? Yeah, maybe. Maybe it never happens. Maybe the Bucks turn things around. Maybe they change whatever's going on. But boy, is it fun to think about. It's fun to think about. It's exciting. I am super hyped about this season for the NBA. And I wanted to just talk about this Giannis trade rumor because I think it's fascinating. I think it's really crazy if Giannis finally leaves Milwaukee. If he's finally gone, for a while I didn't think that would ever happen, and now there's rumblings. So we'll have to see what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.